The school auditorium buzzed with excitement as parents filed in for the annual Heroes' Day ceremony. 15-year-old Maya sat in the third row, her hands trembling slightly as she clutched the program. She knew what was coming. She had known for weeks, ever since Principal Harrison announced that someone special would be honored today. That someone was Marcus, her stepfather. The man who had raised her since she was 7 years old. The man whose dark skin made certain people in their small Texas town uncomfortable. Behind her, Maya heard the familiar voices. Mrs. Henderson and her circle of gossips had already started. "Can you believe they're honoring him?" one woman whispered, not bothering to lower her voice. "I heard Maya's mother married him just 2 years after her first husband died. Probably for the money." Another voice chimed in, dripping with disdain. "What kind of hero could he possibly be? He's just a mechanic at that old garage on 5th Street. Maya's mother, Jennifer, reached over and squeezed her daughter's hand. Her jaw was tight, her eyes fixed straight ahead. They had endured these whispers for 8 years. 8 years of sideways glances at the grocery store. 8 years of party invitations that never came. 8 years of watching Marcus pretend he didn't notice when conversation stopped the moment he entered a room. Marcus himself sat on the stage, uncomfortable in his press suit and tie. His normally confident shoulders seemed smaller under the weight of hundreds of stares. Maya watched him adjust his collar for the third time, and her heart ached. This man had taught her to ride a bike, stayed up countless nights helping with homework, and never once made her feel like anything less than his own daughter. Yet here he was, being judged before anyone even knew his story. The principal approached the microphone, and the room fell silent. Maya held her breath. Everything was about to change. Principal Harrison's voice echoed through the sound system. "Before we begin today's ceremony, I want to tell you about a boy born in Detroit 42 years ago." The auditorium remained quiet, but Maya could feel the skepticism radiating from the rows behind her. Marcus Williams grew up in one of the city's most dangerous neighborhoods. His father left before he was born. His mother worked 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. On stage, Marcus stared at his hands. He had never wanted his past exposed like this, laid bare for judgment and pity. But Principal Harrison had insisted. "People need to understand," she had told him. Maya watched her stepfather's face, seeing vulnerability she had rarely witnessed. She realized how little she actually knew about his early life. He never spoke about it. Never complained. Never used his hardships as an excuse for anything. By age 12, Marcus was raising his 2 younger sisters while his mother worked nights, the principal continued. He cooked their meals, helped with homework, and walked them to school every morning before heading to his own classes. At 14, he took a job at a corner store, working until midnight on school nights. His grades suffered, but his sisters never went hungry. The whispers behind Maya had stopped. She glanced back and saw Mrs. Henderson's expression had shifted from smugness to something resembling shame. But the principal wasn't finished. When Marcus was 16, his mother collapsed at work. Brain aneurysm. She died 3 days later in a hospital bed, holding his hand. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Maya felt tears burning her eyes. She had known his mother died young, but not like this. Not when he was still a child himself. Social services wanted to separate the siblings, Principal Harrison continued, her voice thick with emotion. But Marcus fought them. He dropped out of high school, got his GED, and worked 2 full-time jobs to keep his family together. He was 16 years old, suddenly responsible for a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. And he never gave up on them. Not once. The screen behind the stage flickered to life, showing a photograph of 3 young black children standing in front of a small apartment building. The boy in the middle, maybe 17 years old, had his arms around 2 girls. His smile was tired but genuine. Maya recognized Marcus immediately, even across 25 years and countless struggles. "This is the only photograph Marcus has from those years," Principal Harrison explained. "Everything else was lost when their apartment was broken into." Jennifer's grip on Maya's hand tightened. She was crying now, quietly, tears streaming down her face. Maya realized her mother was learning parts of this story for the first time too. Marcus had always been private about his past, deflecting questions with gentle humor or changing the subject. Now his secrets were being revealed to hundreds of strangers, and he sat there accepting it with the same quiet dignity he brought to everything. Marcus worked as a night janitor and a morning stock clerk, the principal continued. He slept 4 hours a day, sometimes less. He made sure his sisters stayed in school, that they had clothes that fit, that they never felt the full weight of what they had lost. His youngest sister, Keisha, is now a pediatric surgeon in Chicago. His other sister, Angela, teaches high school mathematics in Boston. Both graduated college debt-free because Marcus sacrificed everything to give them opportunities he never had for himself. The auditorium was completely silent now. Even the usual shuffling of programs and clearing of throats had stopped. When Marcus was 23, after both his sisters had graduated high school and were safely in college, he finally pursued his own dream. He had always loved fixing things, understanding how machines worked. He enrolled in technical school and earned his certification as an automotive mechanic. He was 25 when he opened his first garage. Maya's chest swelled with pride and pain. She looked at Marcus, who was wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. The man who checked her car's oil every weekend, who taught her how to change a tire, who believed that understanding how things worked was a form of power. That small garage on 5th Street, the one people mocked, represented years of deferred dreams and relentless determination. Principal Harrison's expression grew somber. But we're not here today because of Marcus's past sacrifices, as remarkable as they are. We're here because of what happened 6 months ago, on a rainy Tuesday night in March. Maya straightened in her seat. She remembered that night. Marcus had come home at 3 in the morning, his clothes filthy and torn. He had told them there was an accident on the highway, that he had stopped to help, that everything was fine. Then he had showered and gone to bed without saying another word. The screen changed to show news footage. Maya's breath caught in her throat. A massive accident scene, fire trucks and ambulances everywhere, a tanker truck on its side with flames shooting from the cab. At approximately 9:15 that evening, a chemical tanker jackknifed on Highway 77 during a thunderstorm, the principal explained. The driver was trapped inside. The cab was filling with smoke. The chemicals in the tanker were volatile and could have exploded at any moment. First responders were still 7 minutes away. Another image appeared, Marcus, covered in grime and blood, helping paramedics load someone onto a stretcher. Maya's hand flew to her mouth. Marcus Williams was driving home from his garage when he saw the accident happen right in front of him. While other drivers went around or stopped at a safe distance to call for help, Marcus ran directly into danger. He used tools from his truck to pry open the mangled cab door. He pulled the driver, who weighed over 250 pounds, from the wreckage while flames were spreading beneath the vehicle. The principal's voice cracked with emotion. Marcus carried that man 100 yards from the burning truck. Then he ran back. Because the driver had told him something, even while barely conscious, even while in excruciating pain. He had said his son was with him. His 8-year-old son was somewhere in that wreckage. The auditorium erupted in gasps and murmurs. Maya felt like she couldn't breathe. Her stepfather had run back into an inferno for a child he didn't know. Marcus searched that burning cab while chemicals leaked and flames surrounded him, Principal Harrison continued. He found the boy unconscious in the sleeping compartment. He carried him out just 4 to 5 seconds before the entire truck exploded. The auditorium doors opened, and 2 people walked down the center aisle. A man on crutches, his legs still in braces, and beside him a young boy with a bright smile. The crowd rose to their feet as if pulled by an invisible string. Maya was crying openly now, watching as the man and boy made their way to the stage. Marcus stood, his face a mixture of embarrassment and joy, and embraced them both. "This is Robert Chen and his son, David," Principal Harrison announced. "They are alive because Marcus Williams risked everything to save them. Because he saw human beings in danger and never considered the cost to himself. Because when evil and chance and circumstance threatened to destroy a family, one man's courage made all the difference." Robert Chen took the microphone, his voice shaking with emotion. "I don't remember much from that night. But I remember a voice in the darkness, telling me to hold on. I remember strong hands pulling me free. And I remember waking up in the hospital 3 days later and learning that the same man who saved me had gone back into hell itself to save my son." David Chen stepped forward, small and brave, and looked directly at Marcus. "Mr. Williams, you're my hero. You didn't know us. We didn't know you. But you saved us anyway. My dad says that's what real heroes do." The boy handed Marcus a drawing, a child's crayon picture of a man carrying someone from flames. "I made this for you. So you never forget that you're the bravest person in the world." Maya watched her stepfather kneel down to David's level, accepting the drawing with trembling hands. The man who had been mocked in this very room, whose worth had been questioned, whose presence had been treated as suspicious, was now being revealed as someone extraordinary. Not because of his past suffering, though that had shaped him. Not because of his quiet sacrifices, though they were numerous. But because when the moment came to choose between safety and service, between self-preservation and love for strangers, Marcus Williams had chosen courage. Principal Harrison raised her voice over the applause that had erupted throughout the auditorium. Heroes don't always wear capes or uniforms. Sometimes they wear mechanics' coveralls and drive pickup trucks. Sometimes they're the quiet people we overlook, the ones we judge without knowing their stories. Marcus Williams is not being honored today because we want to apologize for how he's been treated in this community, though perhaps we should. He's being honored because true heroism doesn't seek recognition. It simply acts when action is needed. Maya stood and walked to the stage. She didn't care about protocol or proper ceremony. She threw her arms around Marcus, this man who had chosen to be her father, and whispered, "I always knew you were a hero." Behind them, the entire auditorium remained standing, applauding until their hands hurt. Mrs. Henderson was crying in the back row, her gossip friends silent beside her. The whispers had finally stopped. And in their place was something Marcus Williams had earned but never demanded: respect, gratitude, and recognition of the truth that heroism lives in the hearts of those who choose love over fear, action over apathy, and courage over comfort. The mechanic from Fifth Street had shown them all what it truly meant to be extraordinary.